Welcome to the August 25th Rochester Board of Education business meeting. We welcome you. We thank you that you are here with us. And this is close to the end of summer. And so if you all want to get a few more days of vacation in before school starts, I would recommend that you do that. It's getting darker out there, so we know that that's an indication that we're going into fall and we're going to start school. So I just want to welcome you for this business meeting. And I'm going to offer a motion to suspend the terms of the video conferencing according to policy 2350 because we have Commissioners Malloy. We also have Commissioner Powell, and we have Vice President LeBron, who will be zooming in and are unable to be here. So can I get a motion, please?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Simmons, seconded by Commissioner Adams. Any questions about that?
No, the only thing I would say is I don't currently see Commissioner Malloy on the Zoom, so she's not here right now.
She's in the waiting room. She's coming in now.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, thank you. So I'm going to, the next item on the agenda is the reverence and pledge of allegiance to the flag. So if I can get Commissioner Patterson, if you'd like to lead us in the pledge allegiance to the flag, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Patterson. And so I'm going to turn it over to our board clerk, Kalia Wade, to talk to us about the upcoming Board of Education events. Kalia?
Wonderful. Good evening, everyone. I am going to be sharing my screen to show the upcoming events. And as a reminder, members of the public are welcome to join us on Board Docs. You can log in by going through the district website, or you may go directly to the board's page and click the Board Docs link. As it relates to the upcoming September events, just give me 1 second here. So the board will be meeting in a work session on Thursday, September 1st, and we'll be talking about leadership and the leadership of this district. And so we do welcome members of the public to join us at 5 p.m., and that will be via Zoom. On Tuesday, September 6th, the Policy Committee of the Whole will meet, as well as the CIGR Committee, which has not met in some time. So we do encourage you to come out to discuss matters relating to our fall forum, as well as the legislative breakfast in the spring, and some very exciting things that I know Commissioner Adams has been planning. The ESA Committee will be meeting on September 13th. And following that, we will have a special meeting to consider resolutions. The HR Committee, which also has not met for some time, will be meeting, and we do encourage our members of public to join us as we talk about matters related to staffing, led by Vice President LeBron on the 20th of September. Our business meeting will commence on Thursday, September 22nd at 6:30, and we will also have a work session related to the FMP on the last Monday of the month. The board will be engaging in a retreat tomorrow. That is also something that is open and available for the public to watch or attend. We will be at the Rochester Museum of Science. So those are our upcoming events. And please feel free to view our events on the district calendar.
Thank you, Ms. Wade. The next item on the agenda is the acceptance of minutes. Board Clerk, are we able to vote on all of these in one motion?
You can, yes.
Right.
I'll take it manually, though.
Okay. So I need to have a motion to approve the minutes from the July 28th, 2022 Contract for Excellence public hearing, the minutes of the July 28th, 2022 business meeting, the minutes from the August 4th, 2022 board work session discussing the 2022-23 board goals, a motion to approve the minutes of the August 9th, 2022 district-wide safety public hearing, motion to approve the minutes of the August 9th, 2022 special meeting, and to approve the minutes of the August 18th, 2022 work session where we were talking about school reopening. And so,
Motion.
is there a motion by Commissioner Simmons? Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Patterson. Any questions or comments on those minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, thank you. And the next item agenda is the speakers portion, but we have no speakers to speak to us tonight, and so we'll move to the next item on the agenda. And we have the Parent Leadership Advisory Council report. Is there someone here to present?
The Parent Leadership Advisory Council did say that they were going to send leadership team member Sasha Lewis via Zoom. Is she on the Zoom?
She is not currently.
So we might need to circle back to her, but Sasha Lewis, one of the members of the leadership team, will be joining via Zoom.
All right. And going down to board reports, there was no committee meeting for CIGR or the audit committee for this month, and so I'll turn it over to Commissioner Simmons for the ESA report, which is the Equity and Student Achievement Committee of the whole. Commissioner Simmons?
Yes, thank you, President Elliott. In regards to the Equity and Student Achievement Committee, we had our meeting of the whole on Tuesday, August 9th. I do want to note that prior to that meeting, we have, over the summer, July 21st and 28th, had some planning for alignment, structuring, and direction for this particular committee. So exciting things to come. I'm hoping the Chief Academic Officer on August 9th, Shani Keelan, did provide the August Teaching and Learning presentation, which was focused on district chronic absenteeism, attendance rates K through 12, and iReady reading and math data by grade configuration. The board also reviewed and accepted the minutes from the June 14th meeting as well during this time. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. Commissioner Powell, the Policy Committee report of the whole?
Thank you. I thought I had a little bit more time. I thought it was going to be after the Finance Committee report. Can you all hear me?
We can.
We can.
Well,
thank
I do have the Finance Committee report that I skipped, so we can, if you prefer that we go to the Finance Committee?
I'm ready, so.
Okay.
That's fine, thank you. So you'll find the report on board docs for our viewing audience. Anyone who would like to read it in detail can go to board docs to see it. Let me summarize by saying that we are about as busy as we've ever been. We have 10 policies that were just approved to advance to the full board and for a first reading tonight. We did that Tuesday this week. We have 10 more that are in the pipeline for a second reading tonight. And we have 8 policies that we're actually voting on amending tonight. That's the final step, plus one that was newly introduced and is being offered up as a new policy. So a total of 29 policies under various stages of consideration tonight. We had policy subcommittee meeting yesterday. So Charisma, who supports the policy committee administratively, has been very busy putting out my report from just 2 days ago and preparing for policy committee meeting for September 6th, Tuesday, September 6th. We will have another subcommittee meeting the day after that, September 7th. That will be the day that we would begin to have conversations about the newly proposed Policy 300, accountability policy. Because next policy committee meeting is already in the pipeline, we haven't had that discussion yet. We will have the discussion about the potential for an accountability policy on September 7th. And any board members that are interested can get the the start time for that from our support staff. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell, and I just want to acknowledge there's a lot of work that the policy of the whole is doing, and it is much appreciated. Thank you for leading that for us, Commissioner Powell. And since I was remiss in doing the Finance Committee report after the ESA, I apologize for that, Vice President LeBron, but I'll turn it over to you for a report.
Okay, and it's also my understanding that Sasha is joining us, that we're trying to join. She did not have the link for tonight. So she's going to be joining shortly. I told her if she got here before I started my report, she could join, but just want to let you all know. So the Finance Committee convened as Committee of the Whole on Tuesday, August 16th, 2022. The Finance Committee discussions focused on the following items: a review of the 21-22 year-end and June 2022 claims audit report with our external auditors, Naraki Smith, LLP, a professional development presentation on the purchasing department and the RFP process by our Director of Procurement, Tim Schmatt, a presentation on the Human Capital Leadership Development Program with TNTP Incorporated by Chief of Human Capital Chris Miller, a discussion regarding the reconsiderations of the Gibson Agreement for the District Program Evaluation led by Deputy Dr. Kathy Black, a review of the 2022-23 Finance Master Calendar, a review opportunity for the resolution slated for the September 2022 business meeting with fiscal implications. The resolutions were not discussed in length, but commissioners were encouraged to submit any questions or comments or concerns to the administration via the board question log. There was also a review of the unaudited July 2022 financial report, which also included the sharing of RCSD's revenue sources report as led by our financial administrator, Vern Connors. And at this time, the Finance Committee recommends the approval of the district's unaudited July 2022 financial reports. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
And finally, the committee considered all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Kalia, did you capture the vote?
I did, thank you. That passed 7-0.
Thank you. And finally, the committee considered resolutions related to an agreement with Amplify Incorporated and East Door Staffing Incorporating. And the next in-person Finance Committee meeting is October 18th, 2022. And that concludes my report. And I do see our parent leader rep from PLAC here as well. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, President Elliott, but she's in the room.
All right, thank you very much. So we'll go back and have the report from the Parent Leadership Advisory Council. And I'm not sure who's doing the reporting. Who is it?
Sasha Lewis.
Sasha Lewis
As
will
part of the leadership team.
provide us with the Parent Leadership Advisory Council report. Sasha?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, board, and everyone in the room. I'm going to be reading the report right now. No parent in this city looks to the coming school year lightly. We're all taking things seriously. We're hoping for a great year. Not a single family has been immune from the tensions that are currently happening in the city and the loss of life of our children. It's a painful reminder of the trust that we're putting in the district this fall. On August 3rd, PLAC parents met with Commissioner Pattison to discuss safety, the district-wide safety plan, and began to lay the groundwork for how best to work together and moving forward in the school year. On August 9th, Plaque parents spoke at the district-wide safety plan hearing to highlight concerns throughout the plan with a focus on equitable resources district-wide, children with special needs, English language learners, and communication across the city, resources, and authorities. We appreciate the time and energy that was taken to answer each question and the roadmap to approval we were provided for the October submission of the final plan. In order to foster as much parent involvement as possible, the leadership team is meeting twice a month for the 2022-2023 school year on the second Wednesdays of each month and the fourth Monday of each month. This school year, we will also have a rotation of 15 members of the leadership team to lead each meeting in place of a single president, since we have all agreed that the job is too large for just one person. The first meeting of the month is on August 10th, and we focus on the Office of Parent Engagement, reconfiguration, and welcoming the new director, Keisha Holloman. We are off to a quick start as we plan the first in-person Welcome Back Plaque General membership meeting on September 21st at 6 p.m. This will be held at Wilson Foundation on Genesee Street. The events team is currently meeting on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m., beginning immediately via Zoom. If you're a parent of a student in the city of Rochester, Rochester School District, you can be a part of the general membership of Plaque by opting in at plaque@rcsdk12.org. This last Monday, the second leadership team meeting had a number of members of the general membership attend to listen and ask questions with Deputy Superintendent Peluso, now Superintendent, Chief Mike Schmidt, and Chief Demario Strickland on school climate, safety, and security, as we prepare to send our students back. Thank you to the three of you for answering so many questions, and we look forward to continuing these conversations. Thank you to Commissioner Simmons for taking the time to observe and to provide support. The path to consistent accountability is a long one when we start from where we are, but the work is important and necessary to get equitable education for all our students. We're looking forward to the district communication to all parents that will clearly outline the accountability and structure and path for school-based issues that are not being resolved at the school level. The next leadership team meeting is Monday, September 14th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. We wanted to take this opportunity to thank the Human Capital Initiatives Department for their work on summer recruiting of staff and to fill the vacancies across the district. It is important to also be having the conversation of how to be a good employer to these new hires and the current staff that work for the district. What steps are being taken to retain the employees that have been doing the work? What is being implemented to encourage new hires to stay? Will we be facing the same massive layoffs that have become routine every school year in May? Students are the stakeholders and parents are the decision makers. Communication, consistency, and accountability should be our only paths forward. Thank you for your time and space to share. Please forward questions and comments and concerns to plaque@rcsdk12.org. Leadership.
Thank you very much. I'm going to do my report from the podium here. This is the President's report, and there's been a lot of things that we've been working on. I've been working on for the month, but I want to do a couple of things. One is, oh shoot, thank you. So one of the things I want to do is just to thank all those students who graduated this summer. I'm not sure how many students that went through the graduation process for this year, but I was at the Franklin graduation. I'm sure Dr. Nems was at East's graduation. So I want to just thank all of those students who graduated this summer and the teachers who were able to help these students move towards graduation. I also graduated in the summer, but I wanted to get out of school. I graduated a year early, so summer school is a great time to consider graduation. And so again, congratulations to all of those students. And you know, it's still a lot of support from our parents. You know, the rooms are smaller, but you can still hear the volume of our parents, and that's a great thing. So the next thing I wanted to do is take the opportunity to congratulate Edison and Principal Jacob Scott for the film that they did and that it won this award. And so the film is called, I'm trying to find the name of it, The Untitled Dream. And Principal Scott, along with his teachers and students, did the film. So I'm going to ask you to come up, Principal Scott. How you doing? You know, I've been knowing Jacob for a long time. We both were at Baden Street Settlement together a long time ago, so just real proud of the work that he's done and his career. The Rochester City School District Board of Education is officially congratulating Edison Technical High School for winning the Philip Seymour Hoffman Best of Fest Award at the Rochester Teen Film Festival. We recognize the students, the teachers, and staff today for their hard work and winning efforts. To the students, your hard work to produce the film, The Untameable Dream, not only captured the attention of the judges and the attendees at the festival, but also ours. We are thoroughly impressed by your skills and dedication, and we can't wait to see what more you have in store. You are simply amazing, and we are proud of you. Congratulations. And I'm going to read every student's name who participated in this. Deasia Anderson, Janalis Cotto, Elenas Gayton, Genesis Gonzalez, Ashley Offen, Damaris Ponce Pagan, Noah White, Edgar DeJesus, La Stephanie Gauze, Daniel Huertas, Samara Martin, Joshua Perez Pacheco, Amir Reeves, Samuel Swift, Najir Thomas, Barinia Tor, LaJay White, Gianna Williams, Josiah Benitez, Levon Coleman, Tyler Gibson, Shania Hill, Jamaris Martinez, Yariana Rivera, Journey Rose, Javon Singletary Alston, Jakaya Strong, Sean Wilson, Janice Wynn. And to the, can we give a round of applause for the students? You know, because oftentimes what's reported in the media, although we're trying to change that paradigm, is that, you know, we hear the negative things that are going on in our schools as opposed to hearing those things that are positive. And we know, without a shadow of a doubt, that we've got great students in our district. So to the Edison teachers who were also involved, we salute you for everything that you've done to support each of the students. Thank you for encouraging collaboration across the participation in government and economics, English language arts, and digital media arts and communications in those classes. It is amazing to see the product of these shared efforts, and we have no doubt that the students appreciate everything you did to push them towards achieving the award. So congratulations goes to, and these are the teachers, Melissa Rich, Ellen Walpole, Philip Konichi, and to Laura Barstow. And to Principal Scott, who is here today, we recognize you for your strong leadership, your foresight and dedication to innovation. Thank you for believing in our students and encouraging them to display their talents and skills in unique ways. We always express our gratitude for the support that you provided to Edison Teachers and to all content areas, and this does not go unnoticed. And so we just want to present you with this beautiful plaque. And I will, I think that what I've read is contained within the plaque. So I'm going to simply present this to you. I'm going to put it back in the plastic, present this to you, and, you know, just off the script, just thank you for your commitment. Now, my concern is that now that he's doing this great work, some other district is going to want to take him. You can't go. I'm just going to say, you can't. Now, he ain't saying nothing. I'm committed. But, we don't want you to go. But we do appreciate all that you've done. You grew up, you went through city schools. Yes, and ma'am. Yeah, and so we thank you for your commitment. And then you also are involved with some of the sports teams as well. So thank you. Why don't you say a few words?
Thank you. No, I'll certainly go on record. I'm committed to the district. This is where I was raised. It's been a true honor just being able to. I'm blessed because I graduated from Edison Tech as well. I look across and I see Dejan Washington, one of our students who graduated some time ago, and our district has provided him the opportunity of doing his dream, something that he actually took while he was at Edison. So I just have a few, on behalf of the students and staff at the Edison Tech campus, I would like to thank Board President Elliott, along with the other board commissioners, for recognizing our scholars this evening from Edison for winning this year's 2022 Team Film Festival Philip Seymour Hoffman Best Fest Award. I think it's important also to just note that this was the top honor from numerous submissions around the world. There was submissions from South America, from Portugal. So certainly proud of of our students. I've been very fortunate to have the opportunity of working at the high school that I graduated from. Our scholars are amazing. This film, The Unattainable Dream, redlining in Rochester, New York, was a culmination of the unique career and technical education aspects, something that we've coined at Edison as critical and timely education, along with our dedicated and passionate core academic teachers. They came together with our students to produce a film that unveiled some of the ugly truths of our city, but more importantly, provided a reminder and a starting point of what we can do now with this information that our students so succinctly captured. I personally learned more about our city's history, and I'm born and raised here, after watching the film. So I would just tell all of our listeners to please tune in. Our film is on our Edison Tech YouTube channel, so please tune in. But I also just want to give a special thank you to our superhero teachers at Edison, whom day after day have pushed, encouraged our students in this project. My work becomes a lot easier when I have individuals to work alongside, such as the Melissa Riches, the Ellen Walpoles, the Lauren Barstows, and also the Phil Konechny's. They do whatever is necessary to get our students across the finish line, but also for our voices to be heard. And I would also like to give a personal thank you to our chief, Demario Strickland, for believing in our work, Commissioner Simmons, who's also featured in the film as well, Sheldon Cox, our director of CTE for our district. My students, our students, are simply brilliant, and their work in this film was uneasy to watch at times, but the teaching and learning behind the experience was simply magical. Please, if you have not gotten the chance, as I said before, view the film. It will certainly open your eyes to some rich history here in Rochester, but hopefully it will open up your hearts to do what is better and best as we move forward. Again, thank you, President Elliott, for recognizing the work that we are doing at the Edison Career and Technology High School. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I'm just going to open it up to board members. I'm going to start with Commissioner Simmons for her to say a few words to Principal Scott.
Yes, I don't even know if I have any more words. It's just what you said as far as being magical. It really, really was. And if you have not watched this documentary, please go to the Edison Tech YouTube page. You will be edified, you will be educated, and you will be enamored by the skill of these students. Like, to firsthand witness the teachers and the students' dedication to this project was simply amazing. To be part of it was an honor. But when I actually saw the final product at the Little Theater, when I was able to view it, I really was at a loss for words. And thank you for having me
Commissioner Adams, would you like to say a few words?
I'd just like to say, hats off to you, the students, and the staff. Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Patterson.
I've known, Jacob for some time now, and again, not that I want to bring in race or anything like that to the equation, but, as a black man standing there, a role model, a mentor, which is needed within our district, I applaud you.
Thank you, Commissioner Patterson. Let me go to the screen. Commissioner Malloy, you have any words for Principal Jacob? Principal
Yes,
Scott?
Principal Scott, congratulations to you, your staff, and especially to all of our students. Congratulations to Commissioner Simmons too. Thank you for your work on this. I want to say as a teacher, as a history teacher, I'm going to be using this film in my own classroom. I am humbled by the work that I see our students doing, and I'm energized in the work that I see our students and our teachers engaging in. And so I thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Commissioner Malloy. Commissioner Powell, any words for Principal Scott?
Just a hearty congratulations to the students. I think that achieving this recognition is going to be a hallmark and a highlight of their life, and something that will, I think, uplift them and push them to bigger and greater things. And I look forward to seeing what those great things will be.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. Vice President LeBron, some words for
Yeah,
Principal Scott?
so one, I want to apologize for not being there tonight, to Principal Jacob and the students, and to the staff at Edison Tech and everyone who worked on this project. Congratulations. And I am going to actually request that we post the link directly on RCSD's website, perhaps on the landing page, so that anybody can come and view it, or also make sure it's on our social media sites, because I do think it's an important film that the Rochester community and certainly other students within the RCSD should have exposure to and have the pleasure of viewing. So thank you all and congratulations again.
Thank you, thank you. And I just one other thing, I just wanted to highlight Philip Seymour Hoffman, who was a great actor from this community, and just to give him the honor too, and to be named Philip Seymour Hoffman, the work that he has done, it is really to be commended that we won that, and it was a worldwide competition. So thank you so very much. We appreciate all the work that you've done. Thank you. Wanted to take the opportunity to do that. And just want to also mention, and Superintendent Nelms is in the room, I had mentioned, and I put it on Facebook, that I had attended the wake of Jaquise Davey. And it's heartbreaking that we're having our students to die before their time. One of the great preachers, Dr. Miles Monroe, said, the greatest, the most successful place and with the most ideas is in the graveyard. They're buried with them, that we didn't get a chance to experience what they have to offer to the world. And I just also want to just, I saw Marlene Blocker there, and just wanted to just send some warm condolences to her, in the sense of, she's seen a lot, and on her face when I saw her was just this heartbreak. And we don't often think about the impact that this have on our school community, and it does have an impact because they have also established relationships as well. And so to Dr. Nelms and the East High School community, and to the family of Jaquise, we just extend our condolences. It's always heartbreaking, and I said on my Facebook post, the violence has to stop. It just has to stop. It's just too much. So thank you for that. And just wanted to also talk about some of the things that are going to be upcoming. I'm going to resume my office hours. There'll be more information about that on our webpage, where from 5 to 7, that Anybody that wants to come and visit me, they are welcome to come, and it really turned out to be quite successful. And so I'm excited and looking forward to speaking to more parents and more teachers or other administrators, as well as students. There were students that were scheduled as well. Didn't have a chance to speak with them, but they were scheduled to speak. And so that will be 5 to 7, and you'll find more information about that in the website. And and I also will be writing some articles, and they'll be posted on the Commissioner's Corners as well. And again, this morning, Dr. Peluso and I had an opportunity just to welcome our teachers and to encourage them. And so I want to take the opportunity from this space and just welcome and encourage all of those who are in the district. So that means from the acting superintendent to the deputy superintendents, to the board, to teachers, to principals, to food service workers, to custodial workers, to bus drivers, to monitors. Just want to encourage you and welcome you for this year, that you all have a great year. That's going to be my prayer, that we have a great year, and that we're going to continue to move in the right direction of ensuring that we educate our children. Every person has a part in that. And we know when we look at, and there may be those who think that maybe the bus driver or the custodian doesn't have an impact. Let me tell you, those people will have more of an impact than others will, because they live in the community that they live. And so don't discount them. They can help them. If they're doing wrong in the hallway, for example, they could tell them, boy, get in class, you got to learn. So don't discount that group, bus custodians and bus drivers and others, because they have a significant impact in our community and with our students. And so I just want to say, have a great year, everybody. We got a lot of work to do, but we can do it. And so that concludes my report, and we'll get on to the, and then we got to have the acting superintendent's report. Let me just go back to the agenda if I could.
President Elliott, may I make a point of personal privilege?
Yes.
I just wanted to congratulate some of the members of our community and offer congratulations and a thanks to the School Without Walls community, especially to a teacher there, Susan Hollister-Kronberger, who helped to organize, along with Principal Wright, the second annual golf fundraiser. And on behalf of students, raised over $10,000 with that fundraiser. And so I just wanted to say thank you so much for making such a successful fundraiser to benefit the class of 2023, and the work that you do year after year is appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Malloy. Let me just, I'm all over the place here with the agenda. Okay. So the next item on the agenda is the superintendent's presentation and the quarter 4 relief fund update. Dr. Peluso?
Thank you, President Elliott. Good evening to you, Vice President LeBron, board commissioners, students, staff, and families watching us on social media this evening. The first part of my update will be focusing on the Relief Fund's Quarter 4 report. It'll provide an update on the fiscal programmatic progress of relief funds, and also share how you could access more information and further details. Just as a reminder, as you know, the district has received relief funding in 3 streams: CARES, Cursor, and ARP. We're nearing the end of the funding period for CARES and anticipate full liquidation of the allocation awarded to the RCSD. The final report for CARES is due to NYSET in October, and we will be submitting that on time. Tonight's update is going to be focusing on the funds within Cursor and ARP that have taken place in the time period between April 1st and June 30th. Just as a reminder, the process that we use to create the Cursor and ARP spending plans, it consists of identification of 7 priority areas as depicted here. Relief funds are used to uplift these activities that support each of these priorities. Within these 7 priorities outlined to be lifted with these grants, there are close to 44 initiatives during this time period. This slide demonstrates implementation progress on the initiatives. More specific information on the impact of initiatives can be found in documents that have been uploaded to board docs. These documents will also be available on the District Relief Fund website after tonight's meeting. It's important to note that many of the internal processes required to begin the access and expend these funds have been completed during this quarter. For example, RFP processes, the contract processes, hiring processes have just completed, and so we should begin to see a more rapid implementation process within these initiatives and subsequent grant spend downs in the next quarter. To outline some of the Q4 highlights, in the area of academics, we were able to provide training for our K-3 teachers on the science of reading, supporting the district's focus on improving reading instruction in early grades. And for bilingual learners in Q4, the Department of Multilingual Education purchased iStation adaptive literacy programs and related professional development in order to better provide instruction in both Spanish and English starting during the 22-23 school year. In the area of social emotional learning, contracts were approved by the Board of Education, which include bilingual support to support restorative initiatives from Ibero, youth intervention aids from Pathways to Peace. Many schools have added help zone staff, as well as establishing calming rooms where students can de-escalate when necessary. Schools have also used funds to support activities that acknowledge students for academics and social emotional progress and help encourage student improved attendance. Finally, with the Q4 of 2021, the district completed an RFP process that will support the launch of a teacher pipeline. After the completion of the RFP process, Nazareth College, University of Rochester, and NYU were selected as university partners for this program. The program will offer a full year of paid experience for teacher residents as they complete course requirements and work alongside an experienced teacher. Teacher residents who are sponsored through this program will be required to serve as an RCSD employee in a high-needs area for at least 2 years after completion. The first cohort of this program is anticipated to begin in September of 2022. On the next slide, you're going to see a summary of the overall fiscal progress that has been made as of June 2022. Reading left to right, you could see the entire relief fund allocation, including both CRSA and ARP. The funds are approximately $284 million. As of June 2022, there's approximately $41 million of CRSA funding available and approximately $182 million left available with ARP. Just a point of note, ARP funding was awarded in January of 2022, and like I mentioned in the earlier slide, internal processes required for us to process RFPs, contracts, additional pay resolutions, hiring processing. So those were all executed during the spring. So we once again anticipate to see a more rapid spending of the funds in the next quarter. The next few slides are going to show some amendments that were made to the funding, and during the budget process, a reconciliation of actual expenditures within both CRSA and ARP was conducted. This slide represents the results of the activity as related to CRSA. Approximately $14 million within CRSA was identified as available to be repurposed. The chart provides details associated with the individual expenditures that the $14 million was repurposed for. All adjustments you see here were incorporated as part of the 2022-2023 budget process, have been approved by the state monitor, and have been subsequently reviewed and approved by NYSET. The next two slides show the ARP amendments under consideration and the repurposing of ARP funds. Highlights include funding earmarked to revamp science curriculum district-wide, as well as funding to continue to address the establishment of teacher recruitment pipelines. The previous slide also shows a repurposing of ARP funds for physical safety and security within buildings. Finally, we just wanted to remind you all that the Relief Fund resources are available to you as commissioners as well as to the public. The Q4 narrative report, The interactive district dashboard and the public feedback forum are all available on the District Relief Fund website at www.rcsdk12.org/relief funding. Additionally, the district is hosting the next Committee of Stakeholders meeting in September. Information on how to participate can be found on the website. Next, I'd like to provide a staffing update. I believe it was last month when I was sitting here where we shared the information of what was vacant in the district, and with the tremendous amount of work and effort put in by the Office of Human Capital, we could see the progress that has been made over the last month. If you see here in facilities and custodials, we have a reduction in the number of vacancies. In food service, we're approximately down to under 20 positions. Health service remains at 2. Transportation, a reduction to 17 FTEs, and safety and security now sit at 10 vacant FTEs as of today at noon. And then if we look on the other side of the chart here, which mostly impacts classrooms and schools directly, our classroom teacher reductions are now currently sitting at 85 vacancies, non-classroom teachers at 5.2. Happy to report our paraprofessionals are at 0 vacancies, teacher assistants at 48, and our clerical at 13. So some tremendous work by the Office of Human Capital, and they're continuing to work. So if you see on the next slide, see yourself with RCSD. We're continuing to hire within our community. We've been doing this throughout the months of July and August, teaming up with partners like the Mercantile on Main, the Urban League of Rochester, the Department of Labor, Rochester Works, and the City of Rochester through their Rock the Block programs. We're recruiting at the public market on Saturday mornings. We will be there this coming Saturday as well. This has been a great location to engage with people in the community. On this particular slide, you see the remaining recruitment events as we've gone through the month of August and into September. Summer meals, we've served over a total of over 49,000 breakfasts and over 58,000 lunches so far through the months of July and August. Through the summer meals program, we thank all of our partners for leading year-round efforts to plan, promote, and continuously improve the Rochester summer meals experience. We're also very excited about our emergency response guide for families. As part of our district-wide school safety plan, an emergency response guide to help families understand our protocols was developed in all 5 district languages. This information is available on our website at www.rcsdk12.org. As you're aware, the district has a detailed emergency plan for each school building. This guide provides families with information to help them understand our protocols and terminologies used. We heard it once already, let's hear it again. Congratulations. We're so excited to congratulate our students from Edison Tech who were the winners at this year's Rochester Teen Film Festival. They took home the Philip Seymour Hoffman Award as Best of Fest. So congratulations again to Principal Scott and Edison. President Elliott shared that we had the privilege to speak with over 200 new staff this morning, and we have quite a few graduates returning to the district when school starts in September. Our alumni are beginning to give back, stepping into our classrooms this fall by providing their talents to our students. There's so many positive stories like this in our district, and I want to warmly welcome our new staff, and I look forward to many years of working with them. We're getting close. The first day of school, September 7th. We're excited to start the 2022-23 school year on Wednesday, September 7th. We can't wait to see those beautiful smiling faces enter our buildings on that day, and we are looking forward to a wonderful school year. That concludes my presentation for this evening and the superintendent report for August.
Thank you, Dr. Paluso. I just want to, this whole effort of recruitment, I have to just do the shout out to Vice President Brown, because she took this and ran with it and took it to the community, and with the help of Dr. Miller and others, that's the reason why the numbers are where they are. And we used to hear that, well, they're not out there, or they're not applying for jobs, and all of that. But we see that there are people who want to work. And I just want to, Vice President, thank you so much for this effort, because you truly did help to bring, some people into our community. And not only that, but with them having these jobs, that impact in our community. And so just really appreciative of that. It goes not only for our schools, but the impact that they're going to have to the economy in our community. So thank you so very much. And thanks to Mike in terms of, the transportation. Those are great numbers. And like you said, come September 7th, something could change, but I just don't see a whole lot of changing, as of September 7th. But, that great work that we're doing, that we have, the buses filled. We also, in terms of feeding our community over the summer, absolutely great job, and I'm just so appreciative. And, all the other staff whose names I may not have called out, who's been working in this great effort, again, thank you so very much. And so I will open it up if there are any questions to the acting superintendent from the board. Commissioner Simmons?
Yeah, I do have a question about the draft, the relief funds report that you have. And so I do note that when you were presenting, we recognize process, and some of those pieces held up some of the progress in some areas. But on this particular report, I wanted to make sure I'm not making that assumption. I noticed that there's some red spots here, meaning that it has not been initiated yet, and just asking if you can give some explanation. For example, improving academic programs, improving learning for students with disabilities, which we know are really important pieces that have to happen, and I'm sure they will. Help me understand why they have not been initiated yet.
So I think going back to some of this report is from April to June, April 1st to June 30th. So I think what you're seeing here are some processes slowdowns that we haven't got to, that you'll see expenditures from beginning in September. So RFP processes, contracts with agencies and companies that will start in September. So we'll start to see a greater spend down during that time. It is additional pay resolutions. All of those that took some time are going to happen now. And the January funds coming in April, us accessing the funds in January also kind of slowed that down as well. So this report is April to June. We got the funds in January. We started those processes. Then it takes us some time to get contracts. It takes us some time to get that paperwork through and to the board for approval.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And so my next question would just be, do you have a timeline or an estimated timeline on when you'd like to see these red turn maybe yellow and green?
So that's a very good question, thank you. So we're constantly evaluating the funds, and that's what this amendment process was, the slides that you saw with the amendment. If we don't see traction on these initiatives, we will then look to repurpose funds for other uses, right? So if some of it is around staffing and we can't find people, if it's something around a contract that we haven't found the appropriate vendor for. So we will then revisit and look at those funds to see where we could use them more appropriately. So those initiatives can turn from red to yellow to green, but some of them may need to be looked at again and repurposed and used elsewhere.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. Any other questions for someone from the, Vice President LeBron?
Yes, thank you. And thank you to our acting superintendent. Talk about just jumping right in. One, I do want to thank actually the entire human capital team, from the recruiters to our benefit folks to everyone who has come out to the Mercantile to do on the spot interviewing. And I'm hoping that we do something formal next month to recognize you all, and I'm working on it. But I also want to thank the Mercantile, who have been tremendously supportive and said whatever RCSD needs, that they would support us. I also want to thank the vendors, the food vendors that are there, and I also want to thank Shanae Lee, Dr. Lee, our former board clerk, who is now with the Education Foundation and Fellowship, and provided opportunities for us to be able to feed people while they were there, and are there, getting beverages and food, and our food vendors, who 3 out of the vendors at the Mercantile are RCSD graduates, and were more than willing to help support us as well, and going above and beyond. So I just want to thank them all. And I also have a question on the presentation. I just want to bring this up, and I know I'll bring this up and meet with the CFO as well, but I am concerned that we're not going to be able to spend our CRESA and ARP dollars ARP especially fast enough. And so I know that there were a number of vendors. There was an RFP process for a number of vendors that for after school education and so forth that was done, and a number of vendors that were selected. And those resolutions were supposed to come to the board in June, July, but the amount apparently was too large. And so now those vendors are off in the wings waiting, and school is about to start. And I hate that we do those things, because what happens on those vendors' ends is that while they're waiting to hear back from RCSD, because we haven't figured out how we're going to vote on these things or process them, they're not going to be prepared when school starts. So just wondering, what will be a plan to expedite the process for resolutions for ARP and CRSA? And then I brought this up before. I am still very much so interested in a process that commits ARP dollars to the local economy in the city of Rochester, which means local organizations, vendors, especially smaller grassroots who don't historically have an opportunity to ever bid for opportunities in RCSD. So if I can get an answer on those two things, and you don't need to give me a detailed answer tonight, just want to put it on your radar, but I do want to have an understanding that it is being looked at.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Patterson?
Yes. First of all, congratulations again for now being the acting superintendent. But now that you're in the seat, here comes the difficult questions. So for me, I put an email form, and now I'm following up since you're in this position. I mentioned, now that we're in crisis, and I draw your attention to, I think it's screen number 12, staffing update vacancies. So when it talks about classroom teachers and our shortages and things like that, at this point in time that we're in crisis, why aren't we drawing from the TOAs, the teachers on assignments? They're some of the best and brightest teachers that can hit the classroom running. Again, maybe there's some that want to volunteer and go back into the classroom because of the crisis that we're having. But I would hope that you'll be able to respond in a timely manner. Why we aren't reaching out to them, and why aren't we using these best and brightest teachers that would be able to help within the classroom and our students succeed.
Can I just sort of interject there for a minute, Commissioner Patterson? I don't want the other teachers to feel some kind of way by you classifying the TOAs as the best and brightest.
I said some.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to put that on record, because it will come back to us.
Right, I thank you very much, but I did say, preface that with some of the.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate the question, and one that we've talked about extensively as a group, right? And, we've made a commitment with our special education TOAs, especially, right, to make sure that they're in classrooms if a school has any vacancies. I'm going to say our TOAs are not, last year when we were short subs, they were in classrooms. They were doing the work in classrooms, right? And there are ways that buildings could be creative and putting TOAs in classrooms and giving them extra assignments outside of the classroom to do some of the work they're having, right? But our first thing is to really support buildings and getting staff in front of the kids. And if we have to use TOAs, and if they have to use TOAs, buildings are not, our TOAs did that last year. They went into those classrooms. But our real focus this year will be making sure that our special education classrooms are not vacant if they have special education TOAs this year. And we'll continue to evaluate and look at our TOAs and how we could support vacancies in the building.
Yeah, but you're speaking specifically to special ed though, right? Am I correct? Not.
In all positions.
Okay.
I'm saying last year, all positions, our TOAs had to hop into classrooms. Even our assistant principals had to hop into classrooms. Our principals had to hop into classrooms at times. Right. So our TOAs were used and exhausted at that point. They didn't really get the opportunity to do a lot of the TOA work that they were asked to do when they took those positions. This year, we're really trying to get as many people into classroom as possible so that they can do that support work outside of the classroom. And that's that involves instruction to kids, right? That's not support, administrative support. That's providing intervention for kids that are struggling. That's providing them with support. But our school principals do a really good job of using the resources and the TOAs in the building. We are looking at special ed to make sure that every building has special ed staff in front of them first and foremost for this year, and we're constantly reevaluating our TOA allocation.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Patterson. Commissioner Adams?
Yeah, I just can't let this opportunity get by. Over the past month, I've been to the Mercantile, AKA Sibley's, a few times, and I go to public market every Saturday. And it's really amazing the work that the HR people did over there, man. They wasn't just letting people come to, they was snatching people, engaging them, every time. And the weather was hot out there, and they was just getting busy, man, and I really applaud them. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Commissioner Simmons?
To Commissioner Adams' point, it's a perfect example of our need to be more community-facing. Oftentimes, we have different groups with selective process, and we invite people to the table, quote-unquote, but this is a prime example, and kudos to you, Vice President LeBron, for the ingenuity in this outreach effort, and to our HR who coordinated all of these pieces. But this is a prime example of getting up and going to the community to truly galvanize community engagement. This is what community engagement looks like on the other side. So I did want to recognize that. And I also had one other question for you as far as the pipeline of teachers that we have. We're in a really good spot. We're much better than where we were. And we know this national shortage is not unique to the RCSD. And so I'm thinking about, we may have enough teachers, but I'm thinking about this past year and then some, where teachers were, I think the point was already made, doubling up, taking on additional classes and additional work and burning out just to keep the school buildings afloat. And so I'm thinking about teacher retention on that part. So getting enough teachers is one thing, but do we also have, I'm almost thinking we need a surplus, you know, to ensure that we really have the supports in stock, if you will.
We would have to tell that to the budget guy, that we need a
Right.
surplus. No, but, from a standpoint of supports, yes, retention is extremely important, right? And I will say Dr. Miller and his team, with new staff that are coming on, especially teachers that are brand new or working towards certification, we're going to have quarterly check-ins with them. They have a quarterly plan to see if they're on track to making work. It'll also help us identify if they're struggling in an area, right, where we could provide them with support. So this is, we know as much as it is important to fill these vacancies, the retention is going to be equally as important.
And to Commissioner Simmons' point, one of the things I think that we need to do is that we need to do exit interviews for those who are resigning or retiring, and to see if there is some information that we can gather to help us in our retention strategy. And I'll tell you an example of that. One principal left, and I went to see him, and he said to me, nobody came to him and asked him anything. Nobody talked to him. And, one of the things that I said to him is that, we got to learn how to love better, because he went to another district, and, we could have kept him here, and nobody talked to him. So, and then just one other point I wanted to make. Dr. Peluso had mentioned that there are employees we've got employees now who have come back to the district. So I don't know if they're the ones that graduated from our high school and came back, but I'm glad to hear that, because one of the things that I've been saying in the 17 years that I've been here, that when I go into those classrooms, I said, listen, get your teaching degree, come back and teach in our district. And so I'm excited to know that we're getting people who are coming back and wanting to work in the district and in our community. So thank you for that report, appreciate it. And Dr. Nelms, I'll ask you to come and talk to us about what's happening over at East. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm going to give you the report for August, and I want to first start by congratulating Dr. Peluso. I saw the press release, and you mentioned, Commissioner Elliott, that he is a collaborator. I can tell you firsthand that is true. Even before taking on this role, he's always been someone who represented all kids in the district and staff. So I wish you good luck, and whatever you need, let me know. And I'm sure I'm going to ask you a ton of questions too. So I think we should all be proud as a community that the board chose Dr. Peluso as the interim.
Acting.
Acting. I gotta be careful with my language. Acting. All right. Next slide. As mentioned earlier, there were a lot of things to celebrate, and this is right before the board meeting. That's why I was a little tardy. We had our August graduation. I have to give a shout out to Ms. Blocker. Ms. Blocker is an amazing principal. This is my 20th year in leadership, and I would say she's probably the most impactful principal I've ever worked with and learned from. Tonight, when she spoke about each student, she gave a narrative about each of them, each interaction. And this was a group of students who started with us in 6th grade. This is our first group to go all the way through. And so she gave stories of when they were in middle school, when she was their principal for about 4 months, all the way through their high school year. And that personal touch that our adults have, if it's a teacher or a custodian or administrator, is meaningful to those families. For each student, their parents celebrated those stories and as if she was talking about her own child. And so I want to acknowledge Ms. Blocker for being the type of leader that personalizes leadership for students and families and knows them inside and out. Also, I want to recognize Maicanita Perez. She's assistant principal at East, and she did the commencement speech. And she talked and delivered a beautiful message about students not ever forgetting where they came from, but also never losing sight of where they're going. And I thank her for delivering such a meaningful and personal message. Next slide. I want to also take a moment to recognize a few individuals. It's one of the hardest parts in leadership is getting leaders to move in the same direction and making the system be focused and anchored into the same set of core values and principles. Our Chief Academic Officer, Jennifer Reese, worked with Carrie Meehan Richardson, Alexa Hogestein, and Dr. Julie Kopp from the University of Rochester to plan an amazing professional learning week this week. At East, students, our teachers have 5 mandatory days of professional development. It was 10. We reduced that to 5 a couple of years ago. And it's been so engaging. And it's just a reminder of how difficult entering last year was. Or can we recall Professional Learning Week last year when people were in masks and scared to be there and uncertainty about the start of school? There was a sense of joy and excitement this year from our entire staff as they engaged with one another and learned from one another. And we took the first couple hours of the first day and we built this into every day this week for some adult social-emotional learning, or adult SEL. We can go to the next slide, please. And we even started with things like this, where we had staff members post a little bit about themselves and have them do jigsawing art activities, just to know that we are more than our degrees, that we have similar passions about our work, and then how do we use those passions to create meaningful lessons and relevant lessons for students, and how important is it for us to know who our students are. There's an old education saying that says students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And we wanted to model that for our adults as well. I want them to know we care about them as individuals and not just by their certification. The most impactful moment within that professional learning was day 1 when we had 5 graduates come back to East. And they spoke about what East meant to them, how to improve East for future generations, and took their own, took the opportunity to shout out staff members and community members who had an impact on them. Each of those students had a different story. I'm looking at them, the first student is a rising sophomore, University of Rochester, and she focused on the importance of culturally relevant, responsive pedagogy, and mentioned how her sophomore year she was exposed to Marcus Garvey, and that was the first time that she had ever read the work of someone in a classroom of Jamaican descent, and how she was able to go home and argue with her father about the facts that she learned about him and his life and his impact. The second student is a first-year student at GCC, and her story is unique because she had a lot of transition throughout high school, and she talked about the stability that East brought to her and how it prepared her to live off campus her first year of college, and her need to live off campus so she can have a stable environment and be able to give back to her family on the weekends. The next child is a kid who was losing his way sophomore year. He entered the Precision Optics CTE, Career and Technical Education course. I think Jacob called it something else. I got to write that down and steal it. And the CTE course he studied got him into an internship. And after second year of leaving East, he's just purchased his first home in East Irondequoit. And he talked about generational wealth and how those CTE programs benefited his life. And the fourth student, there was five, fifth didn't come. The fourth student was a student who was in his second year at NYU. And he was talking about how the diversity at East prepared him to move into a larger city of diverse individuals, diversity of thought, race, religion, and so on. So it just is a really important way to start on Monday, and it anchored, I think, the staff and anchored our focus into the importance of making sure that all that we do is preparing students for life beyond high school. Ironically, as those students were ending that panel, we all transitioned to the wake for Jacquees Davis, and we talked about how that felt for the adults, to know that as we celebrate students who are successful, we lost a student who had just as much promise, and our role in making sure that we create pathways, and how wonderful it was for one of our teachers, Laura, to write a beautiful note about Jacquees on Facebook, and his family got a hold of that, and they read that and used that throughout the week for their own healing, because she described their child in the way that they saw him. And I can't say any more than that about the situation, but I will say that it's important for all of our adults to know our students so we can speak to them, if it's at graduation or in the most tragic events, that sometimes we have the stability in their lives, not saying their families aren't stable, but sometimes they come up to us with things that they may not want to share at home. And we have to be there and listen open, but also hold them accountable and have them held them to a high standard. Transitioning to some more celebrations, I'm just really proud. Our athletic program put this stat up last week on Twitter, and it was just amazing to think about these students as they move through our system the last few years. It's almost unthinkable for a high school to have one Division I athlete. I think I read that Dr. Pelusa was an All-American lacrosse player. So he would know that it's difficult for people to reach the highest level of any sport. We have 5 students right now who are currently playing Division I football. And so these are kids who came through the Pop Warner programs in the community, up through middle school programs all over the city, and getting support from a bunch of different teachers and phys ed folks, and then on to a great high school career. Rochester is a beacon for athletics, and I just want to remind this community that we are all, meaning the entire district, is committed to making sure that our athletic programs are representative for boys and girls, sports, and to make sure that we bring college recruiters to our community. These are kids who are getting full rides and also being able to live their dream. And so we have to continue to invest in our athletic programs. We have to continue to move in directions where students can stay engaged and be successful. So beyond, we have sports beyond football. So the next slide, just want to share with the community some of the opening games. Most of these games begin in the next 2 weeks. Next slide, please. And what's not on this slide is our district-wide swim team. There's a district-wide swim team. I think they begin on August 22nd. But there are other sports, and opening day, I encourage the board to come out in attendance. If you've never been to an East football game, it's rocking at night. You know, the field is turf field and lights and sound, and it's crazy. You'll probably see Ricardo there. He's always in there screaming and yelling and cheering on the students. It's amazing to watch our kids compete. It's always cool to watch our kids compete against one another within the city. So you get a chance to kind of double dip, I guess, and see a bunch of different kids and families. It means these kids are cousins, sometimes brothers on opposite teams in the opposite schools, and so it's a family affair. And so I just hope that we can all pour into the athletic events in all of our schools throughout the fall. I think for many of these kids, it's going to be the difference between them sticking through it for the first few months or leaving. A reminder to our parents, orientation begins next week. We have lower school orientation on the 31st and upper school orientation on September 1st. There'll be a ton of resources for parents. Continue to follow the Facebook page with dates and information. But it's also going to have community supports will be there and a bunch of community services. So To our parents, just a reminder, lower school orientation is August 31st and upper school is September 1st. Just a quick note to our custodial staff. I want to thank them for helping us build and continue tending to the gardens that our students built during our summer school program this year at East. We had students beyond academics get out into our courtyard and build garden boxes, and then our custodians have been keeping it up. So there's right now green tomatoes out there, there's an apple tree, I believe, there's greens, and all that food has been donated back to students and families, and we'll continue to do that every summer. So I thank those teachers and students this summer and the custodial staff for keeping it maintained. With that, I say thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nelms. Any questions, commissioners, for Dr. Nelms? Commissioner Simmons?
More so a comment. Thank you for the presentation this evening. And I was looking at how you opened the school year, and I remember actually being part of that years ago when I was with a nonprofit organization, and just the commitment. And I remember the sense of community and preparedness it provided, just being part of that. And even being a part of a nonprofit, I felt like I was part of the East community. So I love that that is happening. And I think it was Stephen Covey was the focus at that particular time. I also just wanted to acknowledge the graduates that you mentioned, the August graduates. I know I just attended Edison's graduation, and you bringing that back up again just reminds me again of the grit, the tenacity, and the commitment our students have to their own education, and the supports that help us get them over that threshold. So congratulations, and I'm like, wow, so our graduation rates are, we'll see an update on what that's gonna look like, right? And then the CTE. Between Edison, we got both of you here. We need to get a picture. We need the Edison graduate to take a picture of Jacob and Sean, because there's some great work going on in CTE in both schools. And I'm really excited to hear where that's going to take us, and I'd love to see that district-wide. I did get a chance to meet with Sheldon Cox recently and told me more about what's happening in your respective communities. And I really want to see CTE expanded. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Yeah, I call Jacob often for advice and support. He always offers it, so I thank him for that. Not because he's sitting here, but he knows that we text all the time. Like, hey man, tell me what you're doing. How are you getting those kids over there? So I appreciate that. Even we had 2 students today who graduated who want to achieve their CDL license. And I remember maybe 4 or 5 months ago, Jacob had a CDL virtual truck over there. And I said to their parents, like, there's something in the community with a virtual truck, so I got to find that out from him. I was going to text him tonight and say, where's that truck so I can get these kids connected? So and I think that's important, something we've been working towards for a long time, is sharing good practice. And Jacob is a living example of that and committed to his community. And so he's always been a resource for us over at East, and we'll continue to partner for years to come.
And also, if we can get them as bus drivers.
That's right. There you go. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Any other questions for Dr. Nelms, Commissioner Patterson?
Not a question, but again, a statement. First of all, I'd like to applaud you. I went through the Regents test results with a fine-tooth comb, and would like to applaud you and your staff over there for doing just, and teachers, for doing just a tremendous job. So that was wonderful to see.
Thanks.
And second, you talked about a collaboration between you and Dr. Peluso, so I would hope that you two would continue that collaboration and the great things that you're doing over there. Maybe we can, bring on over here where we are, and we can become really one district, opposed to sometimes thinking that we're 2. You know what I mean? So I look forward to that, us working together.
That's the goal.
Any other questions for Dr. Nelms? Commissioner Malloy or Powell or Vice President LeBron, do you have any questions for Dr. Nelms?
I don't, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nelms, really appreciate it. And just one other thing before we get into, not for you, Dr. Nelms, before we get into consideration of resolution, I just want to shout out to RIA. We do have the K through 12 program, and those families that may be interested in our program for our refugee population, I would invite you to contact placement because we are recruiting for RIA. We we really want to welcome and make space for our population. For the program is for 2 years, and then you will move out into our other schools. But we're just excited that we have the opportunity. The board really pressed this because we see the need in this community, and we do see that there will probably be an influx of refugee families to our community, and we want to accommodate them in our community. So I'm very excited about the fact that we are going in this direction in terms of our K through 12 program, and so there's more information about that to come. But I just want to just inform our families that we have that program. And so now we are down to consideration of resolutions, and I'm going to go to the consent agenda action items. And so I'm going to ask for a motion, and I'm going to combine these for resolutions 17 through 23. Can I get a motion? Moved by Commissioner Patterson. I'm going to say you seconded it, Commissioner Malloy? Seconded. Any comments or questions regarding these resolutions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, and then we'll move on to human capital.
Aye.
Thank you.
President Elliott, I just wanted to be on camera for the official aye.
All right, thank you.
Commissioners, do you want to take the vote manually or virtually?
Do you all want to do it manually or virtually? If it's manually,
I think I could take mine virtually if I'm still logged in. It's having some issues, but give me 1 second.
So,
I'll do it virtually as well, that's fine, or manually.
yeah, we could, I think it would be quicker if we did it manually, wouldn't it?
It would be quicker, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do it, it would be quicker if we did it manually if Vice President LeBron is having some virtual issues, we may want to do it manually.
I was able to get the vote in virtually, though.
Yeah.
All right, so you all want to do it individually? That means I'm going to
Yeah.
be doing each resolution individually. All right,
No.
Hold on, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, that's not what, the question is whether we want to do the electronic, cast our vote electronically as well as verbally. That's
the question.
Yes,
But-
that's the question.
okay,
Yeah.
but I'm also saying that if we did those, correct me if I'm wrong, if we did those virtually, wouldn't we have to do each one individually?
Depends on it depends on how you bundle. So right now, we
Okay.
did the consent agenda. That was able to be taken
Okay.
virtually fine.
All right.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the next section of resolutions, can we do that
Yeah,
as a bundle?
No, I do have a question.
Okay, yep.
You would need to, if you're gonna bundle the sections, the other sections that are not consent agenda, I'll take those manually because they're not tied to a linked group.
That's what I mean.
Okay, yeah.
All right, okay. So, did we get a motion and a vote, second for resolutions 24 through 34? If not, can I get a motion for resolutions 24 through 34? Moved by Commissioner Malloy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Simmons. Any comments or questions regarding these resolutions?
I do have a question regarding Resolution 27.
Okay,
But I want to be cautious and lean to General Counsel for guidance to make sure I don't go too far. So I'm looking at this particular resolution, Resolution 27, and I see a name that is a leadership transition. And I wanted to make a comment without actually talking explicitly about the individual, because it's,
or do you want to go into an executive session?
that's what I want to, because I want to know about not so much that person, but where they're going.
Yeah, it's a little difficult for me to know without having some more specifics. If you believe that this is of a too sensitive a nature, it's probably better to discuss in executive session. If it's not going to identify an individual, then I think you make a comment, and if I think you're going too far,
I'll make a comment and I'll reserve the rest for executive session, just to weigh on the safe side. I just wanted to, so the comment that I will make is if we're having some significant changes that may directly impact a community, a school community, I think it's important that we, like, it's like 2 weeks away from school right now. And I'm getting feedback that folks were not aware of certain changes. And so I do want to caution us to be inclusive about how we move forward with that. So I think the rest of that conversation can take place in executive session, but I am getting some concerns brought to my attention.
Any other questions about any of these resolutions?
Yes, President Elliott.
Vice President LeBron?
Yeah, I just want to also actually talk about that particular resolution. It's specifically the Director of External School Operations and that title, because I had some questions. And it's my understanding that this was already a position within the district. I did go and confirm it on board docs for myself and confirmed that who the other person was in that position previously and that they retired and that resolution came to us in July for that individual's retirement. So I just want to acknowledge that because at first I thought it was the other position that we had already declined and that the administration was trying to bring it back up, but it is not the same position. And so I just wanted to put that statement on record. Thank you, President Elliott.
Thank you, Vice President LeBron. Any more questions from the Zoom room? Okay, and I have a question with regard to Resolution 30 that we have.
Quickly, one quick second. President Elliott, is this regarding, the motion was for 24 through 27, correct? Or are we?
No, 24 through 34.
Okay, so just to let you know that 28 and 33 are not in this segment.
Okay.
They are in another segment. So if you take a vote on these, please note you're not taking a vote on 28 and 33.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So Resolution 30 has, in terms of locations, some of these are to be determined. So can someone talk about this? And this is for school centuries. Why have we not determined the locations for these employees?
Good evening. So for school centuries, we've been working, and the Office of Safety and Security has been working to hire and train and get folks through their required certification. And so specific assignments with locations are being facilitated. So that is happening. They should know very soon, but we're working through that process.
And I see some positions where we've got some of our employees that are going to charter schools. The location is charter schools. So we have a food service helper, we have a porter that are going to charter schools. Can you explain that to me?
Chief Schmidt is going to approach.
Good evening, everyone. President Elliott, Superintendent Dr. Peluso, Commissioners. The food service personnel that serve the charter schools are ones that we actually serve meals for those charters. So we provide service to those particular schools. The charter schools pay for that particular service. So we staff those schools and serve those schools meals.
The charter schools pay for it?
Yes, the charter schools pay for it.
From our money? That's just a...
It may
Joe
be that.
Klein did an article about me, about charter schools, so I'm just sort of...
I'll stay in my lane, but yes, we do serve them meals and they pay for that service.
Yeah, I'm just digging at Joe Klein, that's all.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. And then I have another question with regard to the agreement with TNTP. Just remind me and remind our community why we want to enter into an agreement with TNTP.
Good evening. So TNTP is a resource that will assist us in developing our current leaders by providing mandatory professional development to leadership that they will participate in monthly, as well as those who want to become leaders in the district. So those who might be teacher leaders who want to be leaders as assistant principals and principals, how we develop and grow them. Also to support central office transformation and ensure that we are all aligned in how we evaluate and what we expect and how we work together as a team, and to support those who supervise our leadership to ensure that we're all on the same page and working together.
All right, thank you. Any other questions regarding these resolutions? So, General Counsel Neil, I'm going to ask, do we need to remove the resolution from the floor, because I had entertained a resolution for resolutions 24 through, 24 through 34 without considering that we don't have resolution 26 or
28 and 33.
Right, so do we need to have that motion removed and take another one?
Yeah, you could just do motion to amend the resolutions under consideration to include resolution 24 through 34 without the inclusion of 28. Is it 26 and 33?
28 and 33.
Yeah. So just make a motion to amend the resolution under consideration.
Even if we haven't voted on it at this point, we still can do an amendment?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to ask that we make an amendment to resolution 24, 25, 26, 27, 29, 30, 31, 32, and 34. So it's moved by, amendment is made by Commissioner Malloy. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Powell.
Second
Commissioner
by.
Powell.
Oh, Commissioner Powell did what?
Move.
She seconded?
Moved it.
No, she moved it.
Oh, sorry. So moved by Commissioner Powell and seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any other questions or comments around these resolutions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving down to resolutions, the East EPO resolutions. Can I get a motion for resolution 35 through
Motion.
37? Moved by
Second.
Commissioner Patterson, seconded by, is that Commissioner Simmons? Any questions or comments on resolutions 35 through 37? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Down to,
Aye.
Thank you. All right, down to resolutions 38 through 46. Is there a motion for the operations facilities
Motion.
resolutions? Moved by Commissioner Malloy. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Adams. Any questions or comments regarding resolutions 38 through 46? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We'll go down to school resolutions. Resolutions 47 through 55. Can I get a motion, please?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Patterson and seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments regarding resolutions 47 through 55? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, and we'll go down to resolutions for 56 through 61. Is there a motion for resolutions 56 through?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Simmons. Any questions or comments regarding resolutions 56 through 61? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'm still a nay on 61, but it does pass, so I just want that on record. Thank you.
Say that again, Commissioner, Vice
I'm
President?
a nay on number 61.
Okay.
But it still passes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. A motion for resolution 62 through 67.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Patterson. I'm going to take your motion as a second, Commissioner Malloy. Is that okay?
Okay.
All
That's
right.
fine.
Any questions regarding resolutions 62 through 67? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. May I get a motion for resolutions 68 through 70. Moved by Commissioner Malloy. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Adams. Any questions or comments regarding resolutions 68 through 70? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And can I get a resolution for resolution 71 through, and 72?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Vice President LeBron. Any questions or comments on resolutions 71 and 72? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Can I get a motion on resolution 73 through 76?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Patterson, and I'll take that as a second, Commissioner Malloy. Any comments or questions on resolution 73 through 76? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Can I get a motion? Any noes on resolution, no, on those resolutions? All right, thank you. Can I get a motion for resolution 77 through 79?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any questions or comments on resolutions 77 through 79? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And we have resolutions 28, 33, 80, 81, 82. Is there and 83. Is there a motion for those resolutions?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by seconded by Vice President LeBron. Any questions or comments on those resolutions? 28, 33, 80, 81, 82, and 83. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I'm going to be opposed to 80, Resolution 80.
Can you please repeat who motioned and seconded that one? I'm sorry, I had a glitch.
Who second, can you?
I
was that-
motioned it.
I seconded, and
Yeah.
Commissioner Malloy made the first motion.
Are we going a little too fast?
No, we're at the end. I kept up. I was scribbling away.
So any questions about those? So we voted on those. So we're good with 28, 33, 80, 81, 82, 83. We got the vote and everything, right? We're good with that. All right, thank you. And so Commissioner Powell, I'm going to turn it over to you with regard to our second readings and first readings of these new policies that are going to be presented at the Policy Committee of the Whole. Commissioner Powell?
Okay, first of all, they've been through the Policy Committee of the Whole, and they're stepping their way through our adoption process. They'll be voted on and become the standing policies at our next business meeting. Those are, and now the purpose of first and second readings is largely to give our public an opportunity to speak on these policies, but we do not have speakers on tonight's agenda. So if anyone has a concern about them, they should come to, this is the second reading. They have one last opportunity to speak to us, and that is at next month's board meeting before we cast our votes. Let me just run through the titles of these second readings, and then then I will ask if anyone has any comments they'd like to make on this bundle before we move on to the first readings. The policies, and they are in board docs in this order: the Community Relations Goals, Policy 1000, Public Information Program, Policy 1100, School District Records Policy, Policy 1120, Media Relations Policy, Policy 1130, Constitutionally Protected Prayer in Schools, Policy 1150, Recognition for Accomplishment, Policy 1205, Recruiters in Schools, Policy 1240.1, Public Use of School Facilities, Policy 1500, Public Conduct on School Property, 1520, Facilities Development Goals, Policy 7000, which comes with an attachment, which is the facilities development plan. I believe that is everything under the heading of second readings. Does anyone have a comment or they would like to make on any of those? Hearing none, with your permission, Madam Chair, the next section, 26A, is the first readings. Again, this bundle, the community has an opportunity to speak at the next 2 meetings. It will be on the agenda as a second reading next month and then for a vote in October. Those policies include evaluation of school board operational procedures, policy 310, booster organizations, policy 1222, security breach and notification, policy 1300. The proposal to change the name of the smoking tobacco use and use of electronic cigarettes on school district premises, policy 1530. Homeschooled students, policy 1741. Gifts from the public, policy 1810. Parent engagement policy 1900. That's being presented with portions of the old policy attached as exhibits, and then items that were never part of the policy proper, but will keep our policy current in additional exhibits. Interpreters for hearing impaired parents, policy 1925. Acceptable use of district network policy, policy 1950. And the internet policy 4526. I believe that is all of the items under second reading. Do any of my colleagues have any comments they would like to make around that bundle? Hearing none, I turn the floor back over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. And it doesn't appear that we have any executive sessions tonight, and so we'll go to complete the survey. And I'm not going to be able to complete it because it's saying that my authentication to the survey has been lost. Glenn, does that come back automatically, or is that going to take some time? Okay, all right, so I'm not going to do the survey because of that, but, yeah, okay.
You might, yes, you might need to log
I
in
didn't
and
know how
log
long
back.
it would
Yeah,
take, so
just
that's
log in
why I
and log
wasn't.
back out.
All right, I'll just going to do it.
Madam President, while we're waiting for people to complete the survey, I want to thank everyone who voted for the policies that were amended. Policies 3000, 5312.1A, 5420, 5460, 5500, 5600, and also for the amendment to our organization of instruction policy, policy 4100.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. So I was able to complete the survey, Madam Clerk. Okay, we're all set? All set? Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
So moved by Commissioner Patterson, seconded by Commissioner Malloy, if that's okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Good night.